Last episode, I said, next episode we'll do the gold farms. Hopefully we'll get all of them done. Oh, and I never learned, do I? I originally thought that it would take just 2 to 3 real-life days to finish this entire project. I'm talking the spawn proofing, the building, and the technical things, all of it. Now I know how Elon Musk feels when he says we'll have millions of self-driving taxis on the road by next year. In episode 4, I ended up spending 3 real-life days just right-clicking the ground to place moss carpet, which was one of the smartest things I've ever done in my entire life because now my left hand is in chronic pain. In this episode, we'll be building 1 out of 5 of the gold farms that I had hoped to build in this episode, and it took me almost a month to finish. At this rate, we'll be doing yearly uploads soon. Although I would prefer to have all 5 farms completed, having at least one will finally give me a good source of golden apples, which I can use to regenerate my health since we're playing in ultra hardcore mode. This is the aggro gold farm, where you get the pigmen mad at you and they continuously spawn and die. This is the most important gold farm because it allows the player to use looting and collect XP while AFK, which makes it unique among mob farms in Minecraft. Well guys, I've finally made a skin. Don't laugh, it's art, I promise. When I first started working on the golden apple farm, I was under the false impression that building the pigman trap at a lower Y level meant significantly higher spawn rates. So unfortunately, I spent a very long time digging a massive hole down to bedrock. And it wouldn't have even been that bad, but of course, I had to uncover a humongous lava lake. Why does there have to be lava? So you can actually use redstone flying machines to remove lava, but for a lava lake at this relatively small scale, I decided just to go with the good old-fashioned sand removal, where you simply fill the lava lake with sand and then remove it. And now after way too many hours of excavating this entire thing, we now have this. We went all the way down to Y equals 5, so this is bedrock. And now we finally have a place where we can build the gold farm. It was at this point that I made a tragic discovery. I was under the false impression that mobs spawned more frequently farther down at lower Y levels. I inferred this based on my past experience building mob farms in the sky and noticing that the rates were significantly worse than surface level or underground mob farms. However, when I did a test in a creative void world, I found that my understanding of the Minecraft mob spawning algorithm was flawed. What if I told you that the Y level of the spawning area was not actually a factor? Kind of. Here is a comparison between a build height limit platform and a bottom of the world platform. As you can see, it appears that my initial intuition about the mob spawning frequency is correct. The low Y level spawning platform almost immediately fills up with the entire mob cap. However, when I used World Edit to add a giant platform at the build height limit above the bottom spawning platform, the test results between the two actually equalized, with the lower Y level platform's rates decreasing dramatically. I started researching this online and I found this explanation from the Master Caver on Reddit. Basically, when the game looks to spawn in mobs, it chooses a random Y coordinate to attempt to spawn something at. Now here's the thing. The random Y coordinate is not always between the range of 0 and 256. The range that it chooses a random Y coordinate from is based on the highest block in that Y column. Meaning, in the Nether for example, the range will be 0 to 128 because the highest block is the bedrock nether roof. This means theoretically, mobs will spawn 2 times faster with the highest blocks placed at Y equals 128 over blocks placed at Y equals 256 because the game chooses those 128 blocks for spawn attempts more frequently. And if the highest block is only at Y equals 16, the game will spawn mobs in 16 times faster than if there were blocks placed at the build height limit. So since there is a huge amount of bedrock in the nether roof, unless I remove it with an exploit, the Y level of the gold farm does not actually matter. Luckily, for the donut aggro farm specifically, having blocks at Y equals 128 shouldn't actually make that large of a difference because the pigmen take about 10 seconds to die anyway. However, this is certainly an annoying problem for the piston gold farm that we'll build in the future because the pigmen will be removed from the mob cap almost immediately, which will decrease the rates by 8 times over optimal. So now that we got that explanation out of the way, I'm back here in our UHC single player world and I've just been collecting some magma blocks right here. And I'm going to actually be using these to build the spawning platforms for this farm. because piglins cannot spawn on them, but pigmen can, and that's essential because we don't want piglins taking up the precious mob cap. I'm actually going to be building this farm pretty low despite the Y level not mattering. This is because I likely missed some spots with moss carpet, and I can decrease the number of these spots within a 128 block radius of where I AFK by being close to the top or bottom of the nether. So obviously I have chosen the bottom because I already dug this huge hole and it would be a waste to just not use it. So here we go, I have just finished making 3 whole rings of this thing. This should definitely be enough because we're not building it on top of the nether roof, which means it should be 2 times faster. You might notice that I actually didn't build this too high up, which means we're not going to be using fall damage. Instead, I'm going to be using entity cramming, which is a Minecraft feature where if there are more than 24 entities within a single block, the 25th one dies. So I'm just going to be using minecarts to do this since they're considered entities. Put 24 minecarts in a hole, have the pigmen fall into it, and then they'll die almost immediately. It also makes it easier to collect the drops and XP since we don't have to build as large of elevators for it. Oh man, it's been a while since I've spent my time placing moss carpet in the nether. Okay, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get started here. Now I did some testing in creative and I have most of this figured out, but there's still some things I might change. So the first thing we have to do is place a column up here of trapdoors. This is where the pigmen will fall, and we'll put the minecarts down here. There we go. Okay, now we actually have to place the minecarts. So I gotta be really careful here. If I were to fall into there, it would probably be the end of me. I'd have about 2 or 3 seconds to get out, so this is actually pretty risky in hardcore mode. Yeah, so we should be able to place the track on this. Yep. Okay, this should be 24 unless I miscounted. Now I just remove the track, and the minecarts are on top of the trapdoor, just like this. So we can use the trapdoor to have the items fall down. And I actually looked long and hard for something where the pigmen can't fall through it, but the items and XP can, and I couldn't find any blocks. So we're just gonna have to use trapdoors, even though there is a very small chance that the pigmen will fall through. So in my testing, also occasionally items would get stuck on the trapdoor, so I came up with a simple solution. Just place a piston here and occasionally push the items off and down. I ended up making a simple repeater clock that triggered the trapdoor and the piston. Additionally, I added a slime block pusher and a packed ice path to send XP to the center where I plan on AFKing. As I was testing the thing, I ran into a small, unimportant problem where the pigmen would just beeline off the edge and towards the center, which made it a little bit dangerous. Oh. Where'd that guy come from? Oh, that scared me. That scared me good. So I decided just to put a bunch of fences up to force them into my trap, and to my surprise, this actually worked. Oh yes, now it's working. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at this. Wow, this is incredible. This is almost constant XP, and it's not even completely efficient yet. So I just went ahead and built some houses that we're gonna be putting the villagers in. Yeah, so the primary goal of this farm is just to have an easy way to come get golden apples. So we're gonna use the farmers here with the composters to get apples. And then we're gonna use the clerics to trade rotten flesh for emeralds. Yeah, so I'm probably not gonna go all out on this item sorting system because I just really don't think it's worth it for this. Again, the primary purpose of this farm is XP and golden apples. I'm going to be building a piston farm later that I'll probably use for actual mass gold production. So here we go, I just put together this item sorting system here for the gold and the rotten flesh. It might look complicated, but it's basically just your standard item sorter with some droppers here that put it up into the hoppers since I want it to be higher up. And now that just leaves the swords, and I could smelt these and that would turn each sword into a gold nugget, but I don't think it's probably worth it because I don't even have a renewable source of fuel that I can use to smelt these with. So what do you do with them? Well, you just burn them, I guess. Goodbye. Yep, well this should now be working, so now I just have to do what I always have to do. Copy it over 3 more times, and then this farm should be pretty much functional. So this thing's pretty much ready to go. The only thing we're lacking are some test certificates for trading. But before we do that, I want to test this thing, see if everything's working as I expect it to. And this was the point where everything went wrong. I ran into two primary problems. First, maybe 25% of the items were not entering the hopper, which caused them to end up at the center. Second, baby zombies were falling through the trapdoors, getting stuck and not despawning. I knew at this point that this project was far from over. I eventually found out that the items were simply taking a long time to enter the hopper with so many of them dropping at once, and so I started thinking of a fix for these issues. First, I decided to rip out the repeater clock and replace it with a hopper clock so I gained fine control over the timing. By making the delay much longer, it gave the items more time to enter the hoppers and decreased the number of pigmen falling through the trapdoor. Next, I decided to trigger the trapdoor slightly before the piston, which decreased the odds of the items spraying out everywhere. Finally, I added a piston crusher for the baby zombie pigmen. Well, it's been a few minutes and I have not seen a single item come through here, so it seems to be working pretty well. Even though this was an improvement, it wasn't perfect. Although it was rare, some items still made it through. XP was also getting somewhat stuck on the trapdoors, so I made the hopper clocks faster to decrease the risk of that happening. Finally, and most annoyingly, the testificate houses were blocking the pigmen's line of sight, which broke the aggro chain. So I had to make them ugly. It looks so bad. So now I think it's safe to assume that we got this thing pretty much functional. So now I think it's time to actually move on to the later stages of this project. And the first thing that we have to do, I think, is go get some workers. Yes, workers. While testing earlier, I made a portal at the gold farm and found a village on the other side. Thinking I was blessed, I remade the portal only to find out that the village was actually Wyoming. Where are the houses? Wait, what? There's the hay. Where are the houses? Is there really not a single house at this village? How rare is this? Discovering that there are no people in Wyoming, I headed back to the original village to deliver job relocation packages. Oh no, I hit the apple guy. No. Really exciting stuff transporting villagers. They really need to make it so they're like cows or something and they follow the wheat. No, don't get out. You're gonna die. Yes, trapped. Wait, no, we jumped. Oh, these things need higher IQs, man. Okay, now eventually it should wander in, right? Right? Yes. Well, here we go. After hours of pain and misery, I have finally finished transporting all of the villagers. In addition, I also added an enchantment table above me and some more storage below me. And also, sometimes we may just be interested in punishing the workers instead of trading with them. So I installed a simple redstone system that makes them squeal in pain. I conducted a little test where I got 20 golden apples in 14 minutes. Not too great. So I dropped the villagers down a half a block to improve the pigmen's line of sight to me, removed some spawning spaces in the redstone, then headed up into the wilderness to find areas where I missed moss carpet placement. After 30 seconds of getting nowhere, I had a genius idea. What if I just created a texture pack that changed the color of moss carpet and would easily show me the spots that I missed? So I did just that. Is this cheating? This should make it easier though. I'm really a professional texture packer, really. Yep, already seeing the spots I missed. After basically using X-ray to find spawning spaces, I used the farm for about an hour and finally got maxed out enchantments. I also ended up getting about 3 stacks of golden apples, which is actually pretty good. I decided to dig down and get some netherite so I could finally complete my tool and armor set. Pants. Oh, we got an achievement. Yeah, we're all good to go now. How do I look? Oh, I like the look. It's way better than diamond. I was still occasionally having the problem where the pigmen would de-aggro maybe every 5 or 10 minutes, so I tried putting a pigman above me to keep the chain going. It helped a little, but even it was de-aggroing, so I gave up on fixing the de-aggroing problem and absolutely destroyed the thing. Goodbye. Oh, kinda hurts since I named him. He was a good boy. So at this point, some might even consider this project completed. Not me. We are still missing something that is extremely important. In fact, this is probably the most important feature of this project. Now, what is this feature, you might ask? A shutoff system. Since we'll be building more gold farms in the surrounding area, we need a way to stop pigmen from spawning in this farm so it doesn't ruin the other farms' rates. And the easiest way to do that is probably to put some dispensers here on the outer ring, put some lava buckets in it, and then flood this entire thing with lava. Awesome. And now when I want to turn it off, I just shoot the target again, and it should all disappear. But before I copy this to the other layers, I want to go grab some black concrete, which I'm going to use for the walls on the inside there. I just got to sit here. Wow, this is really fun. This is the most exciting block you can possibly collect. Okay, let's see how this stuff looks. Ooh, I think it really contrasts the magma well. And there we go, all of the black concrete is now placed, and wow, does it just look fantastic. I really like this look. You know what's even more exciting than mining black concrete? Crafting dispensers. I tell you, the best block to craft in the entire game. Well, here we go. After many hours of installing all of these dispensers and hooking up all the wiring, this should now work. As you can see, when I throw a projectile at the target, all of the lava comes out, and this completely prevents spawning. When I want to turn it back on, I just hit the target again, and all the lava goes away. So yes, this thing is finally pretty much done. Except one thing. We need to build a volcano. So the first thing that I did was collect a bunch of magma blocks and blackstone from my netherite mining tunnel. And then I just started building the volcano up with those blocks, making magma channels for the lava flow. Keep in mind that I had to make it all spawn proof, and I used blackstone slabs to accomplish that. In the end, I thought that the shape of the volcano turned out pretty mediocre, to be honest. It's not bad, but it definitely could be better. I decided to conceal the farm by covering the top with lava. Although it looks cool, it's definitely annoying to fly through. Ow. 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 So overall, it's not too bad, but the inside is still plain. We need to populate it with cool looking blocks. And I have to say, black concrete is the coolest looking block, so I started filling the entire inside with it. But I thought that was too plain, so I decided to add lights that would flicker on every 68 seconds on average using this random pulse generator here that I found on YouTube. Honestly, I think that sea lanterns would look better, but I haven't found an ocean monument yet. Maybe I'll replace them later. So here we go, the volcano is really coming together now. We even completed the inside, as you can see inside of here. Maybe you can't see because I'm on fire. It's a great design, I tell you. And now the only thing left to do really is the floor. Right now I just have some moss down here. I think it really doesn't match, and unfortunately, I think the best block to put down there would be lava source blocks, which is going to take a very long time, but will probably match in here the best. So now we have lava everywhere, which is actually a bit dangerous in case I accidentally fall into it like this. So I think I'm gonna go grab some stained glass and cover this entire area with it so I don't fall in and die on accident or something. Like I'm doing right now. Remember this thing? I wonder if it still works. I haven't touched it in so long. Yeah, well anyway, we can get both yellow and red dye from this thing. Not sure which one's better. I think it's red. I'm gonna go with red probably. Oh, this thing's so loud. Why? So overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this whole build. I really like the look of it a lot. Oh, and also it's Halloween, so we got a lot of those pumpkin guys in here. Don't think it's worth it to grab one and name it though. That just sounds like a lot of work. And also, during the recording of this episode, I noticed that I probably could have streamed most of it to Twitch without it really impacting the quality of this video, so I think I'm gonna start trying to stream to Twitch in the future. Like in the past, I was not streaming because of instances like this where I just talk, and it'd be a little weird to just do this in the middle of a stream. But with my recent style change over to more voiceovers and stuff, I think it might work better, so I'm gonna give it a shot. And additionally, I think I'm going to also post stream highlights to a new second channel called -2. I think these will act more like a more detailed version of this series, I guess with more emphasis on the day-to-day things versus mega projects like this. It will kind of be more like episodes 1 through 3, I guess. Those were a little more traditional Let's Play. That's probably what the stream highlights will be more like. So if you're interested in any of those things, make sure to check them out, link in the description. And now, let us use this one more time while it's in its completed state. Oh look, we get a zombie. This is exactly the reason why I won't AFK here. Too many things that could kill me. I don't know how this was supposed to be a good ending. Well anyway, the video's over. Goodbye.